Sometimes you have to ask for what you want, right?
Facts.
Because if you don't ask for what you want, you might never get that. The biggest mansion parties, literally like just like Project X out here in Miami. And they called me in again. When they called me in the second time, I'm like, oh, it's time. It's time, right? Yeah. I sit down and they break the news to me and I'm like, like I was so angry. Man, that changed everything.
Really? You hear that night?
Bro, I'm having flashbacks right now. I was standing right here on the stage. Something about those Toronto guys.
Okay.
Come on, don't ask me silly questions, bro. Why you guys even type that? Who approved these questions?
Welcome back to the MBH podcast. Money buys happiness. Guys, before we get into it, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Leave a comment. Share the video. Like if you're listening. 5 stars on Apple. 5 stars on Spotify. Okay? I remember the listeners this time.
See? You're getting better.
Guys, we're in probably my favorite place in the entire world. Okay?
On earth.
On earth. The best place on earth. Ernesto, where are we? Who are we with, bro?
Guys, this one hits home right now. All right? Some great times in this establishment.
Oh, yeah.
We got Nick Steven with us. What's up, my man?
Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Big moment for me right now.
Come on.
Big moment. First podcast, by the way.
Oh, is
First
it?
one?
I've done interviews and that type of stuff, but
Yeah.
first podcast. So
Okay.
big
We're
moment.
popping your cherry today.
Oh, yeah.
All right? You are the general manager here?
Incorrect.
No.
Incorrect. In management, VIP management.
VIP management.
Okay.
That's even better, though.
Yeah.
Right?
I get to
So
deal with you guys, I
There
take
you
care
go.
of
You're
guys,
dealing
right?
with the
Yes.
stars, right? For anyone listening or watching who doesn't know you or know what you do, maybe a little introduction as to who you are.
So 33 years old, born and raised in Miami. I like to call myself a hospitality professional. 11 is my full-time, gig, and festival business part-time, and now a restaurant owner.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yes,
That's
congrats.
recent. We're going to get into that.
Thank you.
Let's take it back a little bit. You said you're 33?
Correct.
33 years old. So let's take it back to maybe when you were a teenager. What did you want to do with your life? And we'll start from there.
So I was a club kid growing up.
Okay.
I got into the whole nightlife thing when I was 16.
Okay.
I literally grew up right here on 11th Street,
Yeah.
Okay.
throwing the whole all age parties, house parties.
Yep.
And then when I graduated high school was when I realized that hospitality was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I started working here at 11 when I was about 23.
Okay.
Been here now going on, 10 years, day one.
Yeah.
And it's been a life-changing experience. I've met a lot of great people in the 10 years that I've been here.
Yeah.
And I've been able to use the 11 platform, right, to do a lot of other great things outside of 11.
Was there a moment where you fell in love with hospitality? Do you remember a certain moment?
Yes. That was my junior year in high school.
Okay.
Being able to be your own boss, access to fast cash, and just being in that environment where you get to provide fun and seeing, the smiles on people's faces. That's when I realized that this is what I wanted to do forever.
Yeah.
So it was club promoting first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Club promoting first.
Yeah.
Renting out clubs,
Yes.
at the ages of 16, 17, 18, doing house parties on the side. And then when I, became 21, it became a little bit more of a professional, how would I call it? It became a little bit more, professional, because now I'm no longer my own boss. I have, people I have to report to, I have to follow certain, rules, guidelines, and policies.
Yeah.
And it's all part of the game. You gotta elevate and you have to change.
In terms of when you were younger, because I always feel like club promoters are always a certain type of kid growing up.
Well, we started as promoters as well.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
We started in nightlife
Okay.
as well.
I didn't know that.
So like growing up, what kind of kid were you? Were you good in school and stuff? Were you kind of a shithead? Because like when I think
Nah.
promoters, I'm like shitheads.
No. I was definitely the biggest shithead.
Yeah.
I was the biggest shithead. I hated school.
Uh-huh.
I got held back, when I was a little kid. I went to private school all my life. I got kicked out of private school my freshman year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I went to public school, and then that's when I got introduced to promoting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who introduced you? Was it a friend? Somebody like?
Yeah, it was a mutual friend that I had. He went to my same elementary and middle school,
Okay.
and then he ended up going to my same high school.
Nice.
And basically him and his group of friends, they were throwing like the biggest mansion parties. Like, you ever seen Project X?
Yes.
literally like just like Project X,
Sick.
like out here in Miami. And I always were like, oh man, these are like the cool guys, right? And then I was always that kid that was cool with everybody in school, right? With the nerds, with the athletes, with everybody.
Mhm.
And they came looking for me and they're like, yo, you know, we're throwing this party. It's all ages. If you want to sell some tickets, you can make some money off of it. And if you sell X amount of tickets, you could attend the party. And I was like, all right, you know, let's run it. And I remember, you know, telling my parents about this and they're like, there's no way you're going to a club at 16. And I convinced them to do it. And, you know, here I am.
Yeah.
It's
And what did your parents think about the decision to go harder in nightlife? Because I remember having that conversation with my parents as well. And I'm sure he did too. And it wasn't the easiest because, you know, they don't really understand nightlife as a whole, but also like the benefits that you're getting from it, right? For example, myself, like I knew that I was just meeting more people and that was enough for me to keep going. I was like, oh, more people know me. They see value in what I offer. That's enough for me to keep going at that point.
It was
So
a
how
network play.
Yeah, it was a network play, right? So how was that conversation for you?
Well, my parents were always like super supportive of everything that I did. You know,
Yeah.
with every phase, you know, as kids, you go through phases.
Yeah.
They supported every single phase. And then when it got into the nightlife phase, they supported it, but coming closer to me graduating, my father was like, hey, you know, how about you stop doing all this nightlife stuff and you decide to go to college and, you know, I'll give you guys an allowance and whatnot. And I said, you know what, keep the money. Like I want to do what I want to do and I'm not going to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were a promoter and then I guess you said you turned 21 and you were promoting on your own. You didn't work for a company or anything.
Yeah, so my best friend was a DJ at
Okay,
the time,
okay.
and his music manager was a well-known nightlife guy on South Beach,
Okay.
and he gave me my first job on the beach when I
Yes.
turned 21, and that was at Amnesia,
Okay.
which was the old Story. So it was Amnesia,
Yes.
then it became Story. So I worked at Amnesia and a bunch of other clubs on the beach.
Okay. And then you said you've been here for 10 years. So is that since opening?
Correct. 10 years.
Okay. How did that come to be? And what was that like? Because I mean, now 11 is a staple. I mean, I'm not even going to say just Miami, worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
It's number 9, right? Listed number 9.
So
as the best club.
it's number 9 in the whole world.
Yes.
And it's number 2 in the States.
Okay.
Wow.
No, number 1's in Vegas, something like that.
Yeah,
Starting
number
Vegas.
1 is in Vegas.
So when you, I mean, yeah, it's just tell me kind of how you got into this, how you kind of found your way to 11.
So it was never planned.
Okay.
It was never planned. I was actually out at a club on the beach and I met this guy at the bar, me and my partner at the time, and we started talking, this and that. He was telling me, you know, I'm here, I'm from Chicago. My boss is opening a club in Miami.
Okay.
And he kept it at that. He didn't tell me too much the first time that we met. We stayed in touch. Then next thing you know, he starts coming down to Miami a lot more often, you know, doing his market research. And I would say about like the 3rd time that we were hanging out, he gave me the full blueprint of what 11 was going to be.
Okay.
And, you know, me being from Miami, when he told me that they were going to open up a 3-story, 24/7 ultra club in the middle of downtown, I was like in my head, obviously I didn't say this. I was like, these guys are fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be fucking nuts though to do something like this in a
Absolutely,
good way, right? You got to be
absolutely.
crazy,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
And I guess at that point too, when you're going through those motions, was there anyone in nightlife that inspired you at that time? Any sort of
Yeah.
person you looked up to and you're like, you know what,
Yeah.
I'd love to model my career after that.
1000%. You know, I always grew up like really admiring, you know, the Tao groups, the Dave Grutmans, all of those guys. Those were the guys I wanted to be when I was older. 1000%.
Yeah. And okay, so you start in 11, and what was your first job here
My first job was a host.
as a host?
Okay.
Okay. So just kind of like break that down for someone who doesn't know what a
I was
host
just
would
an
be.
entry level host.
Okay.
You know, I came in here hosting, doing the basics, 101 stuff.
Yeah.
And then little by little, you know, I worked my way up to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I want to know, because you were saying it sounds fucking crazy. Like when they're like, hey, 3-story ultra club in downtown Miami. Again, I think a lot of people don't understand Miami 10 years ago was nowhere close to what it is today.
Oh no, absolutely not. Like this neighborhood was known for 2 things, and that was Gold Rush, which was an iconic Miami strip club that was here before 11 was here, and then Club Space across the street.
Yes.
And then, you know, if you walked right over the railroad tracks, you're gonna get robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore.
Uh-huh.
But that's why when they gave me the blueprint, and mind you, this wasn't 10 years ago. This was more like 11 and a half years ago.
Okay.
I'm like,
Okay.
these guys are, there's no way. There's no way it's going to work. And nobody thought it was going to work.
For
Like,
sure.
Nobody from the industry in Miami or anywhere in the world thought that 11 was going to be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially to the extent that it is now. But I'm curious, what? So you're like, you were here from day one, opening day. So what was that like in comparison to now? Because now it's like you can't even get a table unless they know you.
Man, the level up is been insane. You know, we talk about it all the time. Like, we usually have these conversations like after like the big weekends, like the Art Basels, New Year's Eve, Miami Music Week, and we just like, you know, after everything's said and done, we'll be at the bar having a beer, talking about, man, can you believe how things have changed?
Yes.
What do you think made it so different than other clubs?
It's a unique experience. You know, you can't go anywhere in the world and get the experience that 11 has to offer. Nowhere.
Yeah.
Why do you think no one's been able to replicate that? Because I feel like even in Toronto, I know that they've tried a couple times, different spots, but no one can seem to really nail it down the same way. Why do you think that is?
It's funny because like I go to places. I went to a club just like 2 weeks ago. I'm not gonna throw the name out there, but they were doing stuff that we do here, like with the theatrics, like the Circus Soleil shows and all that.
Yeah.
And it's flattering to see like other brands trying to copy what we do.
100%.
But it's hard to replicate it because it all comes down to the licensing, right? It's hard to find licensing where they're gonna give you 24/7, you know, liquor, food, nudity, all that.
Yes.
It's almost impossible.
Okay. Okay. It makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And then as a promoter coming into that space, and now you're a host, new venue. What kind of things did you learn about hospitality at that point that you're bringing into 11?
Oh man, I learned everything being here because it's very different from being a promoter and then working at a club where, you know, you're suit and tie, earpiece, you have a legitimate schedule.
Yeah.
And it's no longer about just bringing girls and selling tables. It's much more than that. But I learned so much, man. Time management, networking, so many things.
Yeah. How are you achieving, let's say, that balance of like not getting lost in the sauce, we like to say, because me and him, like I said, we come from a nightlife background. And you know, it's happened to us in the past where we'd find ourselves getting lost in this fake world.
Yeah.
How have you been able to balance that? I'm sure you've matured as time went on as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
But at the
absolutely.
beginning, how are you finding that? Was there times where it was hard for you?
So you're a creator and you've decided to step into the wonderful world of OnlyFans. Listen, good luck to you. However, we know it's not always rainbows and sunshine, all right? When you step into that kind of industry, that kind of world, you want to get involved there, you got to make sure your back is covered legally. There are a lot of slimy people in the industry. Got to make sure you're checked out and all the boxes are checked correctly.
Enter OnlyFirm. These guys are the real deal when it comes to legal support for OnlyFans models. Picture this, an experienced team of individuals who know the industry like the back of their hand. We got the 3 C's, all right? Content protection, they got you covered. Contracts, they got you covered. Copyright registration, they got you covered.
And here's the kicker, okay? They're not just some cookie cutter law firm. They pretend they know what they're doing, this and that. No, they understand all the unique challenges as an OnlyFans creator. So leave the legal headaches behind, okay? With OnlyFirm on your team, get back to doing what you do best, creating content for your fans, make sure they keep coming back, and they'll take care of everything on the legal side.
So do yourself a favor, check out their Instagram page at The OnlyFans Lawyer and shoot them a DM with any questions. You'll thank me later.
And for any more information on their services, check out www.onlyfirm.com. All right, let's get back to this episode.
Yeah, of course. There's still times where it's hard, where you're like, fuck, you know, I want to go back to my old ways, right? But you know, I'm past that. It's more of a business now for me. And I think growing up a club kid, right, and doing all the crazy stuff at a young age, right, the sleepless nights, the drinking, all that stuff, doing it at such a young age. Now that I'm 33, it's like I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like I still know how to have a good time and be a professional at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. And that's important because a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, you know, they have 1-2 drinks and they're useless.
Yeah,
right. They're useless. Like, yo, answer your fucking radio. Where you at? Right.
Yeah.
But me, I'm not that guy. Right. I could be here with you guys, you know, drinking 11 vodka, having a good time, and I could still be productive at the same time.
Yes.
That's just years of experience being in this space, right? I'm curious, I kind of, what points do you like level up? So you say you started off as just a regular host, And then kind of what's the progression from there?
So the progression was it happened right at my 1 year mark.
Okay, cool.
Right. It's always important to know your worth, right? And you have to ask, sometimes you have to ask for what you want, right?
Facts.
Because if you don't ask for what you want, you might never get that.
Yeah.
Right. You
true.
might be deserving of it, but your superiors, the owners of the establishment that you work at, they're not waking up every day like, hey, you know what? We need to give Anthony and Ernesto a pay raise today, right? They might know that you deserve that pay raise, but by you not saying anything, they might think that you're happy where you're at, and they'll leave it like that for as long as they can.
Of course.
So it was at my 1 year mark where my father was like, hey, are you gonna have your 1 year evaluation? And I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I never had, a real job. I always worked for myself. And he goes, yeah, you should ask for an evaluation. They're always telling you how such a, great job you're doing. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to send this email. Sent the email out, to all my superiors, the owners of the club. And I told them, I go, look, I know what I bring to the table. You guys tell me all the time, how much of a good job I'm doing. I feel like I deserve to hit that next step in my career with you guys.
For sure.
And shortly after that, I got a promotion, and the promotion was to executive host, which is basically a supervisor of the host department.
Cool.
Yeah.
Managing people pretty much.
Yeah, I was in management already when I
Yes.
got that promotion.
Yes.
But I wasn't a manager. I was a supervisor.
Yes.
Okay. And what's that been like managing people? Because like you said, entrepreneur, work for yourself your whole life type of thing. And now you're managing a team of this like massive establishment. So what was that transition like for you?
The transition it was a big transition because you go from focusing on yourself so much, right? Making sure you look good, making sure you're performing good. And then now you go into this management position where you have to take a lot of focus off yourself and put focus into others.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about developing, right? Because you could be a hell of a host, a hell of a podcaster, but how good are you if you can't develop the next people that are in line?
Yes, exactly.
That's what it's all about.
And I'm curious, like you speak about the ownership, reaching out to them and asking for your raise or whatever that situation was. I want to speak a little bit to the ownership. I'm not like, I know some people obviously may know who the owners are, some may not. So just speak to us about the team that kind of leads this development and this place and what they've been able to do and kind of your relationship with them.
Well, my relationship with them started before 11 opened up.
Okay.
Right. So I kind of did have a little bit of an advantage because I got to meet two guys who have worked for the owners for 20 plus years.
Okay.
And I really owe it all to them because if it wasn't for these guys, like I would have never been here.
Okay.
And the one thing I must say is I've always had a very close relationship with all my superiors that I report to and with the owners. And I think it's important, no matter what line of work you're in, it's always important for you to have a good, close relationship to your bosses. And you should be able to, to pull them to the side at any given moment and talk to them about whatever you need to talk to them about.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important. And again, if you're trying to like level up into that, just growing your role and your position and growing within an establishment, yeah, you got to make that, you got to make the time to figure it out. I feel like a lot of people who are working their way up in a job, in a position, always expect kind of, let's say the owners or their superiors to be the ones to make that sort of a jump to create some sort of relationship. But I believe it kind of should be the other way around if you want to continue growing within the establishment. So yeah, I totally agree with you. You kind of got to take that step.
1,000%. And don't get me wrong, like when my dad was like, you should send an email and ask for a meeting. I'm like, man, fuck, that's a big email to send, right? Like, hey, I'm calling a meeting with you guys. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah.
But once I broke that barrier, then it was easy after that.
There's a respect factor.
Yeah, they probably
absolutely. They're gonna 100%. And again, it doesn't matter what type of job you're in, what your profession is. The fact that you have enough courage and enough confidence to put it all on the table and be like, hey, I know my worth. This is what I want. If you feel like I don't deserve this, please tell me why so I could work on it. Yes. So eventually I could get to where I want to be.
Yeah, and as an owner or the superiors, they're looking at you saying, "Fuck, this guy wants to grow here."
1,000%.
Now there's incentive for them to say, "Yeah, let's work with this kid." You know.
Yeah,
let's continue
I
growing
also
him.
set the bar very high.
Mhm.
You know, when I still had to go through an interview process, even though, you know, I met everybody before I worked here, and I told them off rip, I go, look, I'm coming in here because I want to own a club one day. I'm not a clock in, clock out type of guy. This is what I do for a living. This is my career, and I take it very serious. And I think by putting it all out there from the jump, they already knew what I was about, and then that establishes, you know, a strong connection between both of us.
And I think an important thing too, and you just said this, is like having purpose behind what you're doing. So you went in and said, "Hey, I'm looking to own a club one day. So I want to be in the place where I can learn how to do that and do it well." I think a lot of people step into jobs and they look solely at the money,
They're in
right?
cruise control.
They're in
half
cruise
the time.
control.
No
They just kind of get
intention.
comfortable. Exactly. And the intention's not there, right? So
You wanted to own clubs from the go.
Always, since
From the
high
go.
school.
Yeah.
Since high school,
And
yeah.
still to this day.
Oh, to this day,
Do
absolutely.
you think that, and I'm not sure how it works, but do you think that you'd ever be a partner here at 11?
Yeah, I hope so.
Is that
I hope so.
you
I
might
hope
have to
so.
send another email.
I hope so.
After
Yeah.
this
I got my
one.
computer with me. I'll do it after.
Right? So I guess at that point, so you wanted to be a club owner. You keep moving up the ranks, right? When does the next level up happen?
The next level up happened, I would say about 3 years after that.
okay.
And a big part in like my story, my history, like with 11 working here, was that I actually got passed up on management positions 2 times.
Wow.
Before getting to VIP management.
Yeah.
And I remember when that happened, you know, it hit hard the first time that I got passed up. And, you know, the partnership, they called me into their office for a meeting. And that made me respect them 100 times more by them sitting me down and telling me like, hey, we're going to promote somebody right now, but it's not going to be you, right? Because they didn't have to do that. They could have just promoted this person and just left me thinking,
Yep.
right? But the fact that they did that, I'm like, you know what? These are good people.
Yep.
True.
Because a lot of people don't operate that way, right?
100%.
And then I would say shortly after that, maybe like a year after, they promoted a second person, and they called me in again.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna lie, when they called me in the second time, I'm like, oh, it's
Time.
it's time, right? Like I'm fixing
Get the
my
suit ready.
collar,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm fixing my tie, and then I sit down and they break the news to me, and I'm like, what? Fuck, you know, like
Yeah.
I was so angry.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we still talk about it to this day. Sometimes one of the partners told me, he goes, I felt like you were going 100 miles per hour, but lately you've been on cruise control. And therefore, we're not promoting you to be the next manager. And I remember walking out of the office, and that little voice was like playing in my head, like telling me I was on cruise control. And I said, you know what? This is the last time I get passed up on this promotion. And the next time they were doing promotions, you know, it was my turn.
Yeah.
Why do you think that you went into that cruise control phase? Was it the first time they kind of not promoted you?
Well, it was the second time.
But I'm saying the first time, did it make you go into cruise control after that?
I think so. I think falling into a comfort zone is normal.
Yes.
You know, when you're growing in your profession, you get comfortable, you know, in the setting, and then you kind of forget all the things that you did to get to where you're currently at.
Yep. It's true. And then, but you get that though. You kind of get knocked on your ass. You're like, fuck.
But you know, I'm glad I got knocked on my ass.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't get knocked on my ass, then who knows? Maybe I would have got passed up a third time and shit would have gone way worse.
Yeah.
Who knows?
100%.
So the third time you got the
Yeah,
promotion.
I got it. Yeah,
And is your current role?
yeah. VIP manager is my current role now.
Okay,
yeah.
so explain maybe what that role entails.
You know, I provide fun. You know, full time. That's what I'm doing.
What a job.
right? Like
But
I
you're
get
dealing
to,
with the celebrities a lot as well.
I'm getting to deal with the celebrities, the athletes, anybody of importance, and I'm getting to deal with people that are not important like
Yeah.
that, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm getting to deal with the average person that's just coming here to have a good time, and I love that. You know, I love being able to have a conversation with you guys, and then to be able to go have a conversation with the bathroom attendants
Yep.
and still have a good time, right?
Yeah.
Like I treat everybody the same. I always say this, like
which is key.
I treat everybody the same with the same amount of respect.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what has made me successful in my field.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I think even the role that you're in as a business owner, I would say, okay, in that role, we need someone that's pretty much irreplaceable. Someone with value that's irreplaceable. So why do you think that you're irreplaceable in the role that you're in?
Why do I think I'm replaceable?
You're irreplaceable.
Well, everybody's replaceable. Let's get that
Yes,
straight.
but to an
right?
extent,
Like,
right? Like there's people like you wouldn't want to go and replace.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
gonna- it's gonna cause
Everybody's
more of a headache.
replaceable. You know, I could be replaced tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
I say one bad thing on this podcast, I get fired, right? Like I'm replaceable. Everybody's replaceable, but it wouldn't be the same. Like not everybody's gonna do it the same way that you do it. Not everyone's gonna do it the same way that I do it.
Yeah.
And it really all comes down to passion. Like I'm so passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
It's hard to find people that are passionate about what they do.
Of
I
course.
think what you said earlier though is like important, and I think people should take that and use it in terms of life, like treating everybody the same.
Yep.
Bathroom attendant, treat them the same way you would treat a celebrity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think like if people operated in their life with that mentality, people would be a lot further. And I think that's a big reason why a lot of people don't ever get to the place that they want to. Maybe they have the skill set or whatever the case may be, but it's that mentality of saying like, hey, I treat everybody the same, bro. I don't care if you're making 50 million a year on the Chiefs or you're making 30,000 a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like nightlife taught us that for sure.
Of course. Well, it's easy to go the opposite direction where your head blows up and you think you're this huge guy, and then you start treating people differently, right? Which
Yeah.
we see that more of.
And that's all
100%.
stuff that I learned from being here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Because don't get me wrong, like in my first few years working here, you know, I come across, you know, the client that's spending, you know, $20,000 and I'm giving them all my attention, but then the guys that are next to them, you know, just buying 1 or 2 bottles, I'm ignoring.
Yeah.
And then, you know, luckily I have a great team around me that teach me, you know, right from wrong. And they, you know, they taught me like, hey, you know what, you got to give everybody, you know, the same amount of attention. You know, you can't make people feel like, imagine, you know, you're here,
Of
you're
course.
buying 2 bottles, and then people next to you are splurging and nobody's paying you any mind.
Yeah.
And we're all focused on these people. You're not going to feel so good about yourself.
Of
right?
course.
So that's what also time management comes into play,
Mhm.
right?
There you go.
Saying like, hey,
And
okay,
I-
cool, we got to
yeah.
split that time, make sure, but
Yeah.
everybody's kind of feeling like they're being attended to some extent.
Yeah, and then also, you know, like starting off, you know, in the business, you know, you come across a celebrity and automatically like the first thing you want to do is take a picture.
Of
Yeah,
course. Fanboy.
That's the
Yeah.
first thing you want to
Yes.
do, right?
Yes.
And we like to call that doing too much,
Yeah.
right?
Nice.
And
Nice.
no exaggeration, like I was that guy at one point, right?
Of
Like any athlete, any rapper, any celebrity, any influencer that I met and I took care of, you know, right before they leave, yo, can we take a picture, right?
Mhm.
And I got the pics, cool, no problem.
Yeah.
But as I matured in this business, it was no longer about the picture,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It was more about just building a relationship.
The experience, yeah.
I rather build that relationship and those pictures come organically further
Yep.
down the line.
And I think
Facts.
hospitality wise, I think that when the celebrities come, they don't want to.
They don't want that. Yeah, they don't want that.
And
And I say that all the time, you know, to my team when we're in meetings, like, don't do too much when you're dealing with, you know, people of importance like that, because they're so used to people in the outside world, you know, doing too much, right? Like, oh, do you need this? Do you need that? Let's take a
Yep.
picture. You know, anything
Yep.
you need, I got you, right?
Yeah.
Like they could get whatever they need. They're famous,
course.
right? They have endless money,
Yep.
Yes.
right? So they connect more with people that just treat them like everybody else. It's crazy, you
It's
know,
true
for,
though.
for people watching this, like, there's no way,
Yeah.
right? But it really is that way.
You'll stand out more to them if you're just being regular, like being a
100%.
normal
Yeah,
person.
just like classic, like, oh, I got
1000%.
you, bro. Let me know if you need anything. Walk
Right?
You
away
got to
type of
play
thing.
cool, man, smooth and
Yes.
professional.
Of
Yeah.
course,
Yes.
and even something too where it's like you said, you're treating everyone the same, right? Like you don't know if that person only buying 1 bottle is going to be back next week spending the 20,000. You don't know if that busboy is going to end up owning a club in 10 years.
You never
right? Like,
know
you
who
never
people
know.
are.
Yes.
That's something else I learned from working here. You can't judge a book by its cover,
Yep.
Mhm.
right?
Which happens a lot in nightlife.
You
obviously.
cannot judge a book by its cover. You never
Yeah.
know who people are.
Yeah. Do you remember like your first big celebrity encounter of like someone you had to take care of when you first got the role?
My first big celebrity encounter, man. Not to sound like cocky or anything, but it's been so many that it's
Yeah,
like
no,
it's
I,
hard.
I, it's every day.
It's
for you
hard
now.
to remember like which was the first big one.
Yeah.
I honestly can't.
Yeah.
I honestly can't. Really
But you have
remember the
regulars
first
that
big
come
one.
here, like Rick Ross, like
Oh, yeah.
those names. They're here every week, almost every other
all the
week.
time,
Yeah.
all the time.
I'm curious in terms of you know, the lead up from, again, what maybe year 1 or 2 looked like here in comparison to now. Like at what year in terms of from opening till now did it really start to get popping? Because now it's like, bro, it's insane now.
It was when your boy performed here, Drake.
Yeah. Changed everything.
2014, man, that changed everything.
Really?
Okay.
Everything.
You were here that night?
Bro, I'm having flashbacks right now. I was standing right here on the stage,
Uh-huh.
New Year's Eve, watching him do the countdown on this stage right here.
Wow.
And when he performed, we had a line of people wanting to perform here. It was hard to book talent before we had Drake.
Really?
The biggest name we had before Drake was Usher.
Okay.
You know, Usher, you know, household name. Come
Of
on, it's
course.
Usher.
Huge.
You know, timeless hits.
Yeah.
Still huge, but past his prime, you could say.
Yes.
And when we got Drake, nobody could believe it. Like when the owners announced it, the staff was like, "What the hell? We got Drake?"
Damn.
Right? So when we
Yeah.
had Drake, that's it, man. Everything changed from that point.
Sick.
And we had him multiple times after that. Too.
Yeah.
Of course, he probably had a blast. He's like, I'm coming right back.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it took a Toronto boy to get it popping in Miami, eh?
Yeah, something about those Toronto guys.
Okay. I like that.
Something
I like
about
that.
those Toronto
And
guys.
then even on another note, like say personal life wise, right? You're a father now.
Correct.
When did that happen?
Oh man, that happened 2.5 years ago.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you, man. Life changing.
Of course.
Have kids one day. Best thing ever.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
both. I think
We're working
both
on
have
it.
plans to
Have as many
right?
kids
Working
as
on
you
it.
can.
How did that? First of all, were you ever worried about still being in nightlife and trying to be a father as well? Because of two different worlds.
I mean, I always wanted to be a father. I always knew, you know, one day I wanted to have, you know, big family, beautiful wife and all that. I didn't plan, you know, like, hey, I'm going to be a father by this age.
Okay.
I did plan to have, you know, a child,
Mhm.
which is great, you know, instead of being unexpected, like, oh, you're going to be a father,
Yeah.
right? But honestly, it's made me better at everything, all aspects of life. And I think, you know, based off my experiences so far, like people respect you more, you know, when you're a family man,
Yep.
because it shows stability,
Yeah.
Facts.
right? And stability and discipline, like that says a lot about,
Yeah.
you know, that person.
It's great for the personal brand, no?
No, but it's just
Yeah.
to me it's impressive. I mean, like you're in management at one of the top clubs in the world in
Yes.
nightlife.
Yeah.
Arguably, like, you know, it could be a toxic world if you
Absolutely,
let it be.
yeah.
If you let it be. But then you have so much stability on the other side with the family.
What
Right?
does a shift what's your like common shift hours look like? Just to give people an idea of like
How much work you're putting in.
yeah,
bro.
and the
Wow.
times it all kind of
So-
happens.
Before pandemic, I was working 5 days a week, 50, 60 hours a week for 7 years. Right.
Okay.
But don't get me wrong, like when you're doing what you love,
Yeah.
it's not work.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not work.
Exactly.
So you could work 5 hours, 10 hours. It's all the same thing at the end of the day for me.
Yep.
And then once we reopened after the pandemic, I started working 4 days.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm still putting in the work. I'm still putting in the heavy hours. But, you know, that one less day, you know, has helped out tremendously, especially, you know, becoming a family man.
Yeah, of course. And in terms of like, I mean, which makes sense. And in terms of like when, like again, what time like would a shift regularly start for you?
Just depends on the day.
Okay. Let's say on your like heavy hitting days, like like
heavy
big
hitting
nights.
days. You know, I try as long as, you know, it works out. You know, let's say it's Art Basel, you know, you got to be out there. You got to be networking. You have to be seen. It's important for the brand, for your personal brand, for the 11 brand, for everything. So I try to go out, you know, to 1 or 2 events before, whether it's with some clients, coworkers, people I want to, you know, meet up at different spots.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I'll be in the club at midnight, right?
Okay.
And sometimes, you know, I'll be out of here 6 in the morning. You know, that's considered an early night, right?
Okay. Okay.
If I'm home by 6, it's like, wow, you got home early.
yeah.
But typical time I'm getting home is 7, 8, 9 a.m.
Yeah. Fuck. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, like that, the in terms of the amount of hours, like, yeah, that's a regular, that's what someone would call a
I
regular
mean,
shift.
I do those hours here and I'm not even working.
Oh my God. It's true. I almost had to kick you out last time. Way too long.
Right.
But in terms of like being of not like you mentioned, being a father and like that's kind of your work hours, like that's got to be tough to some extent. And how have you kind of found a way to work around that? Because dude, it's like, again, it's not like it's like you're working a night shift where you're home at 2 a.m. and maybe you get some sleep and wake up. It's like you said, you're getting home 7, 8 a.m. That's crazy.
Well, it's about having the right woman by your side. Right.
Yep.
And
Let's talk about it.
yeah, you gotta have the right woman by your side. You know, a woman that respects you, loves you, and most important, supports you.
Yeah.
Trust your judgment.
100%. Yeah.
And even on top of that, I know that you started a new business recently.
Yes.
Yeah. I started it with my girlfriend and her mom, my mother-in-law. I
Yes.
started a little pop-up restaurant
Yep.
called Sundays at Nana's. It's right here.
There
Yes.
you go. So how did that come to be?
It came to be about almost 2 years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a bad injury. I injured my knee,
Okay.
and I was out of work for like 3 months.
Oh.
Right, so my mother-in-law was at my house helping out. You know, I had the newborn at the time and all that, and my mother-in-law has always been a chef at home, right?
Okay.
And every Sunday we would go eat at her house. It was just like, you know,
Classic.
religiously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every Sunday we're there, we're eating whatever she cooks.
Yeah.
And during the recovery phase, she was at my house all the time making food. And just like from 1 minute to the next, I'm like, you know, we should do something with this,
Mhm.
right? Like, you make great food, you know, with my network, you know, my knowledge and management, we could put both of these things together and create something special.
Yeah. And
Brought it to life.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
they're both your partners on it. Your
Yeah,
mother-in-law and your girlfriend.
yeah, they say don't mix, you know, business with family, but I rolled the dice on that one. So
yeah.
Yeah. So
Us
you
too.
launched that yesterday.
literally yesterday, I brought my bag with me. I'm going.
I
straight
saw
to
you in the
kitchen.
kitchen though. I saw
Yeah.
you in
I
there.
was in the kitchen yesterday on 3 hours of sleep from, you know, the night before, putting orders out. Got home, rested a little bit, took my kids to school, and now I'm here, you know, filming this podcast with you guys, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch my clothing and go back to the kitchen.
So you say
Nonstop.
Yeah.
you say pop-up restaurant. Explain that.
Yeah, so pop-up means that, you know, it's not open every day.
Okay.
We're only open Sundays through Wednesdays for
Okay.
now.
Cool.
And we're operating out of a ghost kitchen.
Cool.
So ghost kitchen is basically a commercial kitchen space where it's delivery service only.
Okay.
So we're available, you know, Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub, DoorDash, all of that.
Cool.
And the reason we took that path was because I attempted to open up 2 other restaurants in the last 10 years.
Oh.
Okay.
Right. And they ended up not happening. The most recent one was because of the pandemic. And the one before that, you know, it was just bad timing. I wasn't ready for it. I was just way in over my head.
Mhm.
And this time around, I said, you know what, we're going to do this, but we're going to do it a little different.
Okay.
And we're going to take baby steps.
Yeah.
And as we grow, you know, we're going to put more stuff on the drawing board.
Okay.
So
So
you keep costs low at the beginning as low
Yeah.
as possible.
I mean, right now, you know, we're running it just me, my girl, my mother-in-law, and like one helper. And then as the hours extend, as the menu grows, then, you know, the team is going to expand.
and the idea is potentially to turn it into it's like a brick and mortar, like its own spot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Franchise?
1000%.
Yeah.
Damn.
That'd be sick.
1000%.
How
yeah.
was the reaction from the first day?
Oh, dude.
You could see how powerful your network is when I was watching your story.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you just see
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many people supporting you.
Yeah. And that feels good, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that people support you. People support me here at 11, right? At a brand that I do not own.
Mhm.
But then it's even more fulfilling to see them support me for something that I own 100% of.
Yeah.
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 And even in terms of, let's say, going back to those 2 restaurants you tried to open, do you remember like lessons that you learned from those 2 projects that you're applying now?
Oh yeah, man. A ton of lessons. A ton of lessons just from, you know, being organized, to knowing how to build a business plan,
Yeah.
to trying to raise money,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? Like legal aspect of things, right? I was just a young kid, you know, making money, trying to open up a restaurant, and I had no idea what I was doing. The first time around, I was trying to do it with one of my friends who's a famous DJ. I'm not gonna put his name out there or anything,
Okay.
but and I was just like, you know, he was gonna fund the whole project, and I was just gonna be the operating partner of it.
Okay.
Cool.
But you know, I was trying to buy a restaurant in Wynwood, like $20,000, you know,
Rent.
lease. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to rent it, not buy it. I'm sorry. And I was like, you know what? I'm just way in over my head. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And I was always scared of failing,
Yeah.
and that's another reason why I didn't move forward with that project,
True.
and then even the second project. And then this time around, I said, you know what? If I fail, I fail, but I can't go down without doing it this time. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing that I was too scared to do something.
Yes.
Right. So I said, you know what? Fuck this. We're going in.
Yeah.
And I think the back to his thing about, and again, I saw your story too, just like the support was insane.
Mhm.
I think that speaks to the kind of guy you are in this building, right? Because obviously I'm sure a lot of that network came from people that you met here, and for them to kind of support you, like you mentioned, outside of here, that just speaks to the host that you are here and how well you take care of people. And I think looking at your stories and some mutual guys that we know, dude, you're like all over this place, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think you can walk in here at night and not see you. I don't think you can step into a corner and you're not lurking somewhere helping somebody get something done.
Yeah.
And I think it's those things you kind of take now to the business. But you mentioned it's with your wife and your mother-in-law.
Correct.
Any of you have like restaurant, commercial kitchen experience?
Zero, man.
I love
Okay.
that. I love that,
Yes.
bro.
Zero. You know, my girl, you know, she's a stay-at-home mom, you know, by choice. You know, we wanted it that way. And my mother-in-law was, you know, she raised kids all her life. And I, you know, myself, I worked in a kitchen for like 3 weeks when I was 19 and I quit because of how tough it was. And then yesterday, you know, it was my first day back, and I'm not gonna lie, it was not easy at all.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's a new world. Stepping into
Different.
something
It's totally different.
We had a restaurant we opened about 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Closed
pandemic.
it during the pandemic as well. But again, we learned.
What type of restaurant was it? Fast casual?
It was like
fine
it was
dining?
like fast. It was like think of like Subway, but like the Italian version. It was like wraps.
Really?
Like
It's funny you say that because
they're called piadinas.
when I attempted to do the restaurant the second time,
Yeah.
I was gonna do an Italian deli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Okay.
best.
That's what I wanted to do. I'm still
Right?
gonna do that, by the way.
Let us know. Give us a call.
Yeah, I will. Maybe we partner up and we do it together.
I'm down.
Yeah, we
right?
did that. We did that in the pandemic. You
Yeah.
know, just was, and in Toronto here it was a lot better. Toronto was insane.
But
So-
sometimes it's for the like. Sometimes you feel like you want to open something, but it could be for the wrong reason. Sometimes it's like ego too, where even I felt that in the past. Like, oh, I would love to have a huge restaurant, just to have it, like just to bring my people here. Just
And it's funny. It's so crazy you just said that because that was like how I felt back then.
yeah,
I just wanted to say like, hey, I own something.
yeah,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
But I wasn't doing my homework on the side, like all the things that you have to do behind the scenes
yeah.
to be a successful owner. It's easy to just say I own something,
yeah.
right? But I wasn't doing my due diligence, you know,
Of course.
at all.
And on the front end, I think that, you know, you can bring a lot of success to these places because of the network. I think the network is the most important piece as a business.
It's all
owner.
about everything, man.
Right?
I'm a big relationship guy,
Of course.
right? And it's all about having the right relationships.
Yeah. And how do you think you've been able to like maintain all of these relationships to the point where, you know, everything's just growing with you? You know, you're not leaving anyone behind. You're not the type of guy that burns bridges. I know that just because we've talked a lot and you don't seem like that at all. Right. So how have you been able to like keep your network growing without even being on the ground too much? Sometimes you're just front door making sure, right? So how have you been able to do that?
Man, it's different. It just depends on like who you're dealing with. I remember like, you know, my first year, second year here, I didn't have that much, you know, authority here. I couldn't do so much without asking for approval. So at times there was, you know, certain people, celebrities, whatever, you know, influencers, people of importance that would come that I wanted to take care of them, right? Like I wanted to comp them a bottle or two, but I knew that if I asked for it, maybe it wouldn't have gotten approved. So there was times where I was buying these bottles.
Come on.
Yeah, on everything.
Wow.
No reason to make this up. And I was buying the bottles and gifting it to them, you know,
Telling
as
them
a
it was
comp.
it was a comp.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was an investment, right? And
Yes.
you have to invest in yourself, right? Sometimes people don't want to do that. They don't want to spend money, you know, like we're here filming. I paid a camera guy to come take pictures of us right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm investing in myself,
Yes.
right? And that was in the early stages. And then when I'm just dealing with guests that are spending money, that, you know, these are people that you want to obviously have in your network. It's funny because it starts off as them being a client, right? And then from the client, it goes to them being your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then from your friend, it could go for them being your business partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
And those steps, just
Yeah.
like that.
I think people sometimes don't believe it. They're like, hey, how can this guy go from being client, friend, business partner? They don't realize that that's actually a real natural progression in a lot of cases.
It's the mindset you have in between
But
those phases.
you buying fucking
Yeah.
bottles
No,
on your
that's
own
insane.
dollar.
Yeah.
That's
is-
crazy.
And I've never said that. Like maybe a few people from here know that, but
Yeah.
nobody, I've never said it to anybody.
Yeah.
Of course. And I think it's genius.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
yeah.
people at the time might be like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, and there's been times where I even turned down like money, like, you know, guest tip all the time. You know,
Yeah.
it's part of the business, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, thanks for taking care of me. You know, here's a handshake, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's been times where I don't take the handshake,
Mhm.
right? Because I look at my relationship with that person deeper than money,
Yes.
right? And that says a lot to them. They might not say it, right? But they know what's up, right?
Yeah.
And I tell them like, nah, keep the money, you know, give it to the staff, give it to the server, give it to the bartender, give it to my boy over here, but
Yeah.
I don't want the money.
And then now, not only have you built a even stronger connection, they have more respect for you. Now it's like the guy that you said, hey, give it to the bartender. Now they're like, holy, bro, this guy just gave me the cash.
Yeah.
Like, but that's
full
long
circle,
term thinking though, bro. That's
Long-term thinking, yeah.
long term thinking, and that's
That's
something
the right term, yeah.
in
long-term
today's
thinking.
day, bro. Like it's
Well, everyone wants a
it's-
quick fix right now,
Yeah.
right? They're like, okay,
Yeah,
if I buy this guy this comp bottle, is he gonna do something right now for me?
yeah. Is
Yeah.
he gonna buy
Right?
more? Am I gonna
Instead
get
of thinking
better?
years ahead?
And it's crazy because like you could put years of work into this relationship, and then one bad move
Yep,
Yeah.
will tear it all down.
wipes
Yes.
it all away.
And I get people all the time that'll call me like, yo, you think you could call this guy's manager,
yeah,
you know, for this new Bitcoin thing,
Yeah.
you know, this crypto
Done.
stuff.
Relationship
Or
over.
like, yo, I got this product coming out, you know, I
Mhm.
want them to endorse it. Can you give them a call?
yeah,
I'll give you a little cut off of it.
yeah,
And I turn it all down.
of
Yeah.
course.
I turn it all down because they don't like that stuff. Like they have their own management, their own agents and stuff that handle those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know unless it's like a monster deal,
Yeah.
it's not worth pitching it to them because
Of
next thing you
course.
know, they're gonna stop replying to you.
Well, think
Yeah.
about it. Those guys are getting pitched all the time, and like we said, going back to it,
Yeah.
to stand out with those celebrities, you just chill, just be a friend.
Yeah,
That's what they
Yeah.
appreciate the most, right?
Absolutely.
Is there any other businesses or ventures that you'd want to get into, let's say in the next few years?
Yeah, 100%. You know, like I mentioned, I'm in the festival business, so I want to
Yep.
continue to add more festivals.
What are you doing in
to
the
my
festival
portfolio.
world right now?
So I'm doing what I do here,
Okay.
okay.
but in festivals now. You
Cool.
know, I work with a company called Collective Presents and La Familia.
Okay.
Okay.
They throw the biggest Latin music festivals in Mexico
Cool.
and Chicago as well.
Okay.
So me and my partner Matul, we have basically built a nightclub inside of a festival.
Cool, like a little
Nice.
pop
Yeah,
up, like
60 table nightclub inside of a
shit, it's
festival.
big
oh,
then.
it's fucking
Yeah.
huge.
And this has been happening for how many years?
This year will be the 4th year doing it.
Cool.
When do you guys do it in Mexico?
August. You guys gotta come.
I will
out.
be there. Yeah, I was gonna say,
You
dude, we
guys
love
gotta come
Mexico,
out.
bro.
That's why I asked.
Yeah,
right?
if you like Spanish women, you gotta come out.
Oh,
You
man.
have a
I'm fucking
blast.
flying there, dude.
Yeah.
And but you mentioned earlier a club. A club is on your hit list, like owning a club, owning and operating your own club. Do you have like an idea, a certain area you'd want to see it in? Would it be in Miami? Would it be somewhere else?
Obviously, you know, I'm from Miami, so it
Yeah.
has to be in my hometown.
Yes.
But I have no plans on opening up my own club, right?
Okay.
Like I'm a big believer of if it's not broken, don't fix it,
Yes.
right? And where I'm at right now is far from being broken.
Yeah.
So why try to fix it?
Fair.
Why leave why leave somewhere that I put so much time, so much effort,
Yep.
I've sacrificed so much,
Mhm.
right, to be where I'm at. And I'm not even at a high place right now. I feel like I'm not even getting started yet,
Yeah.
right? Like I have so much more gas in the tank,
hmm
right? So why ruin something that is so good right
Yeah.
now, right?
Hell
And try
yeah.
to open up my own place, right?
True.
I'm good where I'm at. This is my home, right? I'm not going nowhere.
Hell yeah.
Thank God.
Your
Thank God, bro.
hookup now is
I'm
gone.
going
right?
wherever you
You're
go.
gonna have to start paying for shit now.
Yo, we got some rapid fire questions for
Yes.
you, Miami edition.
Okay.
All right, it'll be a little fun.
Oh God, here
We're
we
gonna
go.
go back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Here we
sick.
go.
Go first.
What's the most that you've spent at a club?
Nothing.
Genius.
That's the great thing about building relationships.
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't have to pay for shit.
Yeah,
you know?
zero.
You
don't-
never had
I
a
don't-
night where you went crazy?
Don't get me wrong. You know, I spend money at restaurants and stuff like
True.
that, and sometimes I'll even turn down the free bill
Yeah.
because next thing you know, now you owe people
Yeah,
stuff,
For something. Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I hate to be that guy where I'm always, you know, using my juice to get free things
Yep.
in return. So I like to pay for things,
Sick.
honestly. But I've never spent money at a nightclub.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
Legendary.
What's your
Yeah.
favorite restaurant in Miami?
Giselle,
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
located-
telling me I haven't been yet.
located on the rooftop here at
So
11.
same ownership, right?
Yeah, same ownership. We have a partnership with another hospitality group.
Yeah.
The restaurant people.
Yeah.
So it's two hospitality groups that run it. 11 and the restaurant people.
Cool.
I tried it out about a week or two ago. Best food in Miami.
I agree.
I'm saying this
That's
on
why it's
camera
my
right
that's
now.
why it's my favorite.
It's
right?
the only place I haven't been to.
Yeah.
And
It's right upstairs, eh?
No, I know. Hey, listen. But I gotta go because he says the same thing. Best spot.
If 11 could have this same venue in any other city, where would you put it?
Man, me personally, or
Yeah.
You personally.
man, I would love to see it in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It only makes sense.
I love Vegas. I'll be there for the Super Bowl. I
We'll
think
be
you
there.
guys
we're
are
gonna
going
see you there.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have a good time.
We're gonna hang out.
Okay. Is there any other club in the country that's better than 11?
Come on, don't ask me silly questions, bro. Why did you guys even type that? Who approved these questions? Who approved this stuff?
We're just trying to go
Who
rapid
approved
fire.
this?
Quick.
Oh
Okay,
my
the clickbait.
God. Cut that part out
Cut
of this
that one
thing.
Okay, next one. What is the most important trait to have in order to gain a network?
Being personable.
Mm.
You know, you can't be afraid to walk in a room with 10 sharks, right? And be uncomfortable. You have to be personable. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's do some back and forth here. Okay, I'm gonna start here. All right.
All right.
Okay. It's just gonna be one or the other type of thing, right? What do you prefer, clout or wealth?
Wealth.
Quick,
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
Best area in Miami.
Best area? Oh man, I'll say Coconut Grove. Grew up there. I love that area.
It's a nice
Yeah, I
area,
love that
beautiful
spot.
area.
Okay, best performance at 11 ever.
Drake, 2014.
Yes.
Drizzy.
Yeah, best
Yes.
one.
Best street food in Miami.
Best street food? Oh man, street food. I love street food. I would say there's nothing like a downtown hot dog off
Yeah.
the
There you
cart
go.
right there in the middle
Street
of
dog,
downtown.
baby.
Come on.
I love it. Okay. Best place to take a first date in Miami.
Giselle, man, come on.
Yeah.
You took one. You took a date there. It
Don't
looked like
expose the man.
it looked like it ended well. I
Expose
hope
the
it
man.
did.
It was a great.
did
It
it-
wasn't the first date, but it was a
Did
good
it
date.
impress though?
Oh, that's 100%.
Yeah?
Then
Oh,
taking
what do
the
you mean?
elevator-
I was walking out of the office. She was hugging him.
Clip it.
Bro.
Clip it, baby.
It was not PG-13 either. Like so I think it went well. I think it went well
Clip
I'm
it.
getting
Clip it.
exposed right now. Oh,
on your own show.
what do you think the most underrated venue is in Miami?
Most underrated venue?
Yeah,
When you say venue, you're talking about nightclub,
it could be
restaurant?
nightclub, restaurant, anything.
Oh man, underrated venue. I would say a venue I like to go to right now that's fairly new, that I guess you could put it in the underrated category, is Delilah.
True.
It's
We haven't
something,
checked
you know,
that
it's in Brickell. It's everywhere else, you know, it's in LA,
It's right beside
Vegas
our spot,
and stuff, but it's different.
It's on
Yeah.
the water, on the
Yeah,
water
it's
there.
like
Yeah.
the live music,
Cool.
no pictures allowed.
Oh, cool.
And, you know, for a guy like myself, I'm always surrounded by loud music and stuff. I don't want to be, you know, vibe dining with music blasting
True.
or have to
Mhm.
scream, you know, across the table.
Yeah.
I like that spot to hang out, you know, with my girl and stuff, take
Cool.
a client out to dinner or whatever.
We gotta check that
Okay.
too.
Okay. What is the most underrated skill as a man to have?
The most underrated skill as a man to have, man, I would say in the world we're living in today is being masculine, bro.
Yeah. Say it, bro. Say it with
Yeah.
your chest.
Yeah.
Say it with your
I
chest.
told you I don't
bro.
want to get into politics and
Of course.
stuff,
No,
but
that's not political. That's just,
but yeah, man, being masculine nowadays, I feel
Yeah.
like, you know, they're trying to take that away from us, man.
Mhm.
yeah.
And that's what it's all about. We need that.
Oh yeah.
You
Be
need
a
that.
man.
You gotta be a man, man.
Be a
Yeah,
fucking
straight
man.
up.
Okay, I'm not gonna ask you this one because
Yeah.
you're just gonna get pissed off at me.
I kind of want to know now.
No. What's the most important skill you've learned in hospitality?
The most important skill, man, back to the whole relationship thing is learning how to network properly.
Yeah.
That's the best skill. You know, you could networking, that one handshake could change your whole life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's honestly the best skill that I've learned.
Okay, we got one more here. What was the most memorable moment for you in this club?
Oh man,
I know there's probably so many, but
the most memorable moment I would say was when I sold $10 million in real estate for the 11 hotel and residencies across the street.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm not even a real estate agent.
So you
Yeah.
were brokered the deal.
I put it all together. Yeah,
holy shit.
yeah,
This guy does it all.
yeah, man. Maybe I get my license one day. I don't know. I
I
don't
Should've
need
done
it
before
Yeah,
that. You
yeah.
gotta, you know,
Yeah, that was the most for me. Yeah,
unreal. But yeah, so the 11 residences are coming here as well.
right across the street,
Yep.
64 floors, 300. Don't quote me on it. I think 347 units.
Hotel and residence.
Hotel and residencies. Yeah, 3 towers.
Just
So
a walk
smart,
away.
bro.
Just a walk away.
Yeah, tempting.
We like to do this with some of our guests, but we'd like you to manifest something on this show.
For yourself.
Manifest something for yourself in the future.
All right, talk about manifest. So
Yeah.
I manifested me being on this show
Did
before I
you?
even met you guys.
Okay.
It's
Really?
crazy. Yeah. So when you guys did the pod with Grutman,
Yep.
Yes.
I saw it, and I'm like, man, you know, Grutman's on this thing. You know, I need to be on this thing,
Yeah.
right?
That's that energy.
And I immediately followed you guys, and I saw we had a whole bunch of friends in common, and I told myself, I go, I'm gonna be on that podcast one day, and you know, here we are.
Look at that.
Yeah.
You want to manifest something for the future, though? Maybe the next 5 years, something you want to see happen in your life?
Yeah, I want to continue to grow, you know, as a businessman. You know, I want to open up more restaurants, continue to grow here with 11, and doing what I love to do.
Oh yeah, we'll be here with you, bro.
I hope so. You
We'll
better not
be
go anywhere.
here
trust
with
me.
you.
No, trust
No,
me.
believe me,
You
we'll
better
be
not go
here.
anywhere.
Listen, you know, we're the MBH podcast. We got a famous question, which I'm sure you know it, but I want to know if you believe money buys happiness.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. I never met a broke person as happy.
It's just straight to the facts. You know what I mean?
It's not everything.
just straight
It's
to the
not
facts.
money's not everything. Don't get me wrong. I don't
Mhm.
do things for money,
Yes.
but money does play it's an important factor
Mhm.
in life.
Yeah.
And you need money for for freedom and to have access to certain things. With no money, you have nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you have a family. You're opening up new
Yeah.
businesses. You need money for this stuff.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm already rich. I'm already wealthy. I got a beautiful, healthy family, but you need that money in your bank account, to get what you need at the end of the day.
Yeah, take care of everybody.
And to
Yeah.
come to 11.
Oh yeah.
You're going to need that money. That's for sure.
1,000%.
Nick, bro, we appreciate you, man.
Yes.
Anyone who comes to Miami, they need something at 11, need a booking, need something, need a table, hit him up.
Yeah.
This is your guy.
I'm not buying bottles for people anymore.
No, he's not doing
Yeah,
that
that's
no
over.
more.
I'm not
That's
buying
over.
bottles for people
But
anymore.
hit him up. He's
I'll
a
take care of
gentleman.
you.
He'll take
Yeah.
care of you. He's
Yeah.
been taking care of us. We really appreciate you, bro.
No, thank you guys.
We're going to run this back in another year or two.
100%.
See where you're at.
1,000%.
Congratulations on all the success.
I
brother.
appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Guys, if you made it this far, you know what to do. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like this video, leave a comment, leave a couple comments. You're listening, 5 stars, Apple, Spotify.
Please.
Nothing
And-
less than 5.
And that's
We're gonna-
it.
Nothing
By
less
the way,
than
we're going to
5.
go enjoy some of this right now.
Please do.
Yes.
11 branded vodka.
Please do.
We had to do it.
And
Shout out, Nick.
We'll have all of Nick's info in the description. So like you said, hit him up for anything. He'll take care of you guys when you're here. Nick, once again, thank you so much.
Oh,
We
man.
appreciate it, brother. And Jay,